Welcome back to Heroic Book Adventures. I'm Steve, and today we are taking a look at The Cave Girl from Edgar Rice Burroughs. First thing, we got to take a look at this slick Frank Frazetta cover. I mean, that just pops. Don't those tigers just look so menacing, like they're about to pounce right off the page at your throat? And of course, the cave girl in the center, Nadara. They just don't make them like this anymore. The modern fantasy minimalist covers of digital age design are just shameful compared to these old paintings. We really need to bring back book covers that evoke a sense of wonder in us. But the main character of the story is Waldo, who gets shipwrecked off the South Pacific Sea somewhere on a deserted island. Now, Waldo is kind of a very wimpy intellectual from Boston. So he's completely ill prepared for this survival situation that he's thrown into. He's skinny, sickly, terrified of his own shadow. So he ends up just staying on the beach for a few days, not knowing what to do. And he's afraid to venture off into the forest, even though he needs to find shelter and food and water. And to make it all worse, there is a creature in the tree line just out of his view that seems to be stalking him. And he's just terrified. So after a few sleepless nights, he gets to the point where he says, well, I can't have another night of this. I might as well just charge in at this creature and just get my death over with if that's what it's going to come to. So he goes chasing after this creature, and it ends up evading him and running off. So he just keeps on walking and walking once he's in there and looking around, sees things. Eventually he encounters a group of hairy cavemen that look real violent and out for his blood. So, of course, the only thing he can do is run away. So as he starts running, he ends up at this rock cliff where he scales up to a little ledge. And from that ledge, the cavemen can only attack him one at a time, at which time he can use his stick and hit him over the head and throw rocks at him. So it keeps them from being able to overrun him. So while this fight is going on, a figure comes up behind him and scares him, but it ends up being a young woman. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of this fight and everything. So she watches what he's doing. Well, eventually there comes the ability for the two of them to escape away because she had been trying to hide from these cavemen as well. So the two of them escape and then end up starting to get to know each other and communicating. And it turns out that she views him as a hero, the hero that's going to save her from the situation she's in. He's like, what? What are you talking about? She was the one that was watching him out on the beach. And she said, for you to be out on that beach without any shelter when there's panthers all around shows just how fearless you are. And then when those bad men were chasing you, you had the wits about you to run away and get up onto that ledge where it gave you a more strategic position to fight from. It shows just how great of a fighter you are. And of course, during the entire fight, he's screaming in terror. And she's like, and your war cry was so fearsome. And she ends up naming him Thandar, the brave one, and just looks up to him. And he's like, me? Oh, okay. He's like, oh, also sometimes when I'm in the midst of battle, like my limbs start shaking. And so if you ever see that, know that I'm extremely angry. He's trying not to look like a total nerd in front of her. But, a little bit of a bond develops between them. And seeing the survival situation that he's in and not wanting to disappoint this cute young woman, Waldo Emerson Smith Jones comes to the conclusion that he is going to man up. Yeah. Now, don't take that to mean just because Nadara was confusing his cowardice with heroism, that she's stupid or anything. She actually proves to be very cunning and resourceful. But the story follows these two through all kinds of danger, adventure, and love. And it is a story I really enjoyed and I look forward to reading in the future. I'll give this an 8.5 out of 10. I really did like it. And what I enjoy reading about Edgar Rice Burroughs is that even though these stories are over 100 years old, they don't feel that old. I think a lot of the surviving books from that era, the classics, were kept because of their literary quality. But Burroughs was really writing for a popular audience. So he knew just how to write in a way that would just appeal to a mass amount of people. Sure, there's going to be some things that are outdated, but they're so minor and easy to overlook that it's not a big deal. But this was a really fun story. So if you ever happen to come across this for a reasonable price, you know what to do. So I will see you heroes in the making for our next savage adventure.